Hey gamers, I'm the Bad Luck Gamer, and we're back for some more Pathfinder 2e goodness here. We're going to be talking about another class I feel does not quite get enough recognition from the community, but first, just a few things about the channel since things are starting to really move along. I'm really happy for all the support I'm getting either on stream or on the comments in the videos, and I just want to say thank you. It really makes doing this very easy for me to do, get motivated to work back up on it. So, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for your comments, for the likes, for everything, for coming and participating in our streams. I very much appreciate it. It's just something that really, really helps me out. And I'm also excited to say that we're about to get started on a new project. We have another game of Pathfinder coming up. It's going to be every Friday starting on the 15th. We're starting a new Mwang Expanse campaign, so if you want to see some cool stuff there, come check it out. We're going to, I believe, have a summoner and probably some of the classes from Guns and Gears. Probably a gunslinger. So if you want to see those classes in action, definitely come check us out there. But that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get with the video. I just wanted to say thank you again. All right, so we're going to get talking about the class of the video today, which is going to be Cleric. And I feel like there is a good amount of misconception when it comes to Cleric, or at least the idea that when you pick Cleric, you're picking the healer, you spend every turn healing people, sustaining the party kind of thing. And while some people like that, I feel that, like, especially in games like 5th edition, being the healer is not quite so rewarding. Now, we actually had a table talk about healers just the other day, so go check out that video. I believe it's called Why Healers Are Awesome or something like that. We really talk about how great healing is in general, but I want to let everyone here know who's watching this video now, Cleric is not just a heal bot. Paizo gave Cleric a lot of tools that allow them to do more than just heal. And while you might spend some of your turns healing, you also will be able to get to do some other things as well. But let's go ahead and start off with the list, which is just the diversity of playstyle when it comes to Cleric. Because Cleric has two kind of subclasses, the War Priest or the Cloistered Cleric, you get to pick whether you want to be a full support caster Cleric, and it's not even support caster. You can just be a full caster Cleric if you want to, or you can take up some armor, get a shield, and be a tanky Cleric. This is really, really cool, and depending on your style, really, it fits your playstyle. So, for instance, the War Priest gets shield block, which, by the way, super good. Just, it's a great feat to get. Everyone can get it because it's a general feat, but shield block in general is just a good feature to get baked into your class because it just helps you negate damage. And early game, it kind of sucks because a lot of your shields don't have a lot of health, but starting at like level 4, you can get a sturdy shield, which has like 60 something HP, and it has a pretty decent hardness too, so you can get a lot of mileage just out of that, and it just helps negate damage. On top of that, being able to experiment with the favored weapons with War Priest, really, really good. While on the flip side, if you're going full caster with Cloistered, you will be a divine caster and a really, really good one at that. And not only that, but the Cloistered Clerics have access to the Domain Initiate feat, which gives them the domain spells for a variety of different kinds of aspects that gods and godly beings have. And there's a ton. Tell me. We're going to get to that here in a second, but I just want to say that, like, whether you want to go with like a sword and board tankier kind of Cleric build, or whether you want to be a full caster in the back Cleric build, each style feels very, very different from each other, and you can get a lot out of them, especially with some of the feats. Another thing that makes Cleric really good is Divine Font. Now, it gives you access to either the heal or the harm spell, or both if you take the versatile font feat. But what's great about it is you get a number of extra spell slots at your highest level. Extra spell slots at your highest level for either heal or harm. And that's so good. And it's your charisma +1. So you always get at minimum 1 extra spell slot. I would say that I would recommend most clerics to get at least the 4, have a 16 in your charisma so that you can get 4 slots, and that will pretty much set you up. That will free up your other slots for using other kinds of spells, damaging or supporting, however you want to play, and you just don't have to worry about, dedicating your spells to just healing your allies. And not only that, but Harmful Font is really cool. You can just be a high damaging cleric. And there's just a lot of different things that you can do with that. I can't say enough. Divine Font is really what separates 5e healing from Pathfinder, because 5e healing, you have to use your spell slots. Pathfinder, you get extra spell slots just for healing so that you're not expending more for healing from your normal spell slots. You can do whatever you want with those. Next, we're going to be talking about Deadly Simplicity. Now, Deadly Simplicity is okay for the most part, right? This is the War Priest kind of bread and butter feat. But what I really like about Deadly Simplicity is that a good majority of simple weapons already do a d6 damage, so it makes your weapons do d8s, which, when you actually look at weapon stats in general, a d8 is really good, pretty solid, actually. There is one, though. There is one god, Lubaiko, from the Mwangi Expanse, which is like the god of pyromania and lighting fires. Like, literally, one of her edicts is to start fires, like actual fires. Which is great. They get access to the long spear, which is a simple weapon, and it does a d8, which means that it can do d10s with Deadly Simplicity. That's really, really good. And in fact, with it being your favorite weapon, there's a lot of extra buff feats you can get out there to make it an even better weapon. So yeah, that's actually really sick. Really, really cool. War Priest gets access to a pretty good weapon in general, just with the long spear. And that's not including all the other unique favored weapons out there, some of which might even be uncommon weapons that your character gets automatically trained in just for being a cleric, and then Deadly Simplicity can make them even better if they're considered simple weapons for your character, which that's a whole thing altogether. Now, I did mention earlier about the Domain Initiate feat and the fact that you can get domain focus spells. I can't go over all of them in this video, obviously, because there's just a ton. And not only that, but they're coming out more. The Gods and Magic book brought out a whole bunch of new feats that are really interesting. So I'm just going to go over a lot of my favorite ones. Not a lot of. I'm just going to go over some of my favorite ones here. Just rapid fire real quick, just to give you an example of some of the goodness clerics get. And not only that, but they're focus spells. That means that these spells can be just recharged between combats. You just always have access to them without needing to use your spell slots. So first we're going to talk about Fire Ray. Great damaging spell. I have nothing else to say about it. 2d6 plus 2d6 per level of the focus spell. Mwah. Just fire damage, just bam, you shoot lasers as a cleric. Great. Awesome. Forced Quiet is one of the most hidden OP spells in the game. It makes someone very hard to hear, but it does not prevent them from using verbal components for spells. Which means that unless someone is within 10 feet of your caster, they will not be able to hear the verbal components of the spells, which is actually a big kind of limiting factor for most spell casting, because it says you speak in a strong voice when you're casting. This will force the character to be quiet, but still be able to cast their spells, as long as it's not an auditory spell that requires the target to actually hear them. This will allow your spellcasters to fight quietly and get a good sneak attack off without necessarily revealing your position. Really, really, really good. Agile Feat. Now, at surface level, this one might not look all that great. It gives you a +5 status bonus to your movement, which there is another one, which does allow you to kind of get 10 feet. But why I picked Agile Feat over the other one, which I think is the athletics one or whatever, is because Agile Feat makes your character ignore difficult terrain, get that +5 to their movement, and this movement can be added to any kind of movement, including burrowing, swimming, and flying. And the same action you use to cast the spell, also you can use a stride or step action to do so. So it ignores difficult terrain. You can use it with any kind of movement, and you don't waste an action casting the focus spell. It just allows you to go and just get out of trouble. And being able to ignore difficult terrain is just really, really OP. Dazzling Flash, a spell you really just can't go wrong with. And not only that, it starts off as a 15-foot cone, but can become a 60-feet cone once you get 3rd level spellcasting, which is at level 5. But what the great thing is about this spell is the enemy is most likely to become dazzled or blinded. Dazzled if they actually succeed the check. So they still, like, if you dazzle them for 1 round, which means until the beginning of your character's next turn, everyone is concealed to them, which means your rogues can stealth in plain sight right in front of them, and they have to make a DC 5 flat check just to affect anyone. But they can also become blinded, which makes everyone hidden to them, which is really, really good. And on top of that, like DC 11 to hit, characters can hide and get away from them super easy, also for a round. Really, really good as a crit failure and a crit success effects, but I'm just going to talk about, the basics, what you're expected to get from the spell. Another thing I want to say about Clerics before I start diving into the feats is that Clerics are one of 2 real class options that allow you to play like as an evil character relevant to the class. Any character can be evil, technically. You can play an evil wizard who uses kind of evil spells. You can play an evil assassin like rogue, whatever. But there's no classes more than the cleric and the champion where good and evil makes a substantial difference in like your class feats and whatever you're doing. And not only that, but because of the way like Harmful Font works, you can play in an all undead game with a cleric and they can still heal everyone with the harm spell. And on top of that, a lot of other spells that heal undead as well that are just innately a part of what cleric can do. Really, really good. And it just makes cleric diverse when it comes to what kind of campaigns you're running in. All right, so to make this video not as long, hopefully, I'm going to just try to rapid fire through some of these. Please go out, check out Archive and Nethys if you're really curious about Cleric. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Clerics are badass. But let's go ahead and get into it. Holy Castigation, because hey, why not mess up demons too along with undead? It allows your heal spell to harm fiends just like it does for undead. Really, really good. And it just makes an already good spell that can heal all your allies and hurt your enemies at the same time even better. Syncretism, I believe is the way it's pronounced, allows you to get either extra domain spells if you're a cloister cleric with the expanded domain initiate feat, or you get a second favored weapon from a different god. This is really, really good to give another kind of option for your war priest, because there's a lot of favored weapons that have either like disarming, tripping, or whatever, really, really good features, and this will just allow you to equip that weapon and to get the most out of those depending on your situation. Or you can just get a long spear and then, I don't know, a star knife, because, I mean, why do you need anything other than the long spear from Labaika? Sap life, because you know what? The harm spell wasn't good enough already. If even one target gets hurt by sap life, you get a amount of temporary hit points equal to the spell's level, which, by the way, due to Divine Font, is always going to be at your max level pretty much. So really, really good. If you want to play a war priest, an evil war priest of like Gorham or something, this will just make you even harder to deal with, because you can just touch someone, deal some damage to them on a basic fortitude save, and if they don't crit save, you get temporary hit points on top of the damage you deal to them. Channel Smite. Ironically, considering champion, the best smiting ability in the game, And let me just tell you right now, it's really, really good, actually. And it's kind of strange when you think about it, because it means that clerics were doing spell strike before it was cool. Sorry, Magus. It's just a really, really good feature that lets you charge your weapon with the power of the heal spell or the harm spell and just whap someone with it and do a bunch of damage to them. Cremate undead is actually aesthetic as fuck, right? It just allows you, just imagine, you just are chanting your prayer to your god, and the undead in front of you just begins to burst into flames. That's really cool. You wanna be that fire and brimstone priest with your book there, shouting about Jesus. Well, now you can just do that, and the enemies will burst into flame and get persistent burning damage. Align armament is actually a hidden OP one because it allows you to attune your weapon to either one of the two aspects of your god. And I always recommend you pick the non-good or evil alignment ones like law or chaotic, because that will apply to more enemies in general, in my opinion. But these type of damages are some of the least resisted damages in the game. So you're just going to be doing extra damage with this, and it doesn't take a property rune slot on your weapon like some other features do. So this is just extra damage. Swift Banishment. Amazing. You just hit someone, and if you crit them, you can use a reaction and expend the banishment spell you have prepared and just banish them immediately. It's really, really good crowd control. Really good because it's a feature that allows you to benefit from a critical and use a reaction from a class that doesn't normally have any real reactions to some of their stuff. So this is just good. This is just good to have just in case the situation ever comes up where you hit something, you crit it, and you can just gone. And they even have a greater banishment or a swift banishment effect that you can get that makes this even better, where I think you don't even need to have the banishment spell prepared to utilize it, and the creature gets a penalty to the save to avoid the banishment. All right, last one, and then I swear we're done with Cleric. I'm trying to get this one done a little bit faster than normal. That's going to be Avatar's Audience. Man, Avatar's Audience, I did not know how real good this is until I kind of reread it a few times and understood. Your character just becomes a badass by definition. Like a badass, the definition of badass is someone you see and you think they're awesome. And that literally one of the things this ability does is anyone of your faith knows you're a herald of your god. And they understand the repercussions of fucking with you. Like, it's really, really good. And then on top of that, you can do a 1-minute ritual to just bamf to the plane of your god and just be like, yo, what's up? Hey, Labaika, I've just set a bunch of fires. Please give me more gifts. And then Labaika would be like, yeah, totally. Because, gods are just all about you doing the things they like. And then not only that, but then you can just bamf back home like it was nothing. You can just go have beers with like Caden Callion and then just be back in no time at all. Avatar's Audience is really, really good. And really one of the only feats that are like it. No other feats really feel as like epic as this one. All of them give you some really good abilities, true. But this one just makes you the herald of your god. And your DM has to do something really cool with that as a part of it. So it's just a really, really great level 20 feat. And while you might not get it in most of your games, when you finally do, oh boy, it's good. But yeah, all right. So that's going to be the end of this video on why clerics are awesome. I really hope I could express it to you all exactly what makes cleric good. A lot of these videos are just about what makes each of these classes great, and that even the classes you underestimate the most have really cool functionality, really cool story potential, and then not only that, but no class is bad. No class is bad. And speaking of that, we're going to be talking about Oracle next week. So check us out there. That's going to be a fun video. Oracle has been one that I've been researching a lot because it's a very, very funky kind of class. But I'll tell you right now, Oracle, really, really good. They're all really good. So really, really good is just going to be my catchphrase from now on when I talk about all these. But anyway, if you've enjoyed the video and you've watched up until this point, please subscribe. It really, really helps motivate me, and it also helps the channel get revealed to more people. And I just want to make sure that I can get this kind of information out to everyone who wants this kind of content. So please, I beg you, just if you're enjoying it, please do it. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. If this is just a one-off, then don't feel bad about not doing it. I just want the people who are liking the content to do something that will help bring that content to them easier in the future. But all right, that's going to be enough from me. Good luck with all your games, and leave the bad luck to me. Bye.